time for a cup of tech gumbo. Time to welcome in Haggai Davis. What's happening, man?
I'm ready for baseball at the box.
Aren't you, though?
Oh, you know it.
I mean, everybody's chomping at the bit so much that they moved it up by 3 hours just to get it here sooner.
Let's go.
It's 3.5 hours. I cannot wait to talk to Musso about this coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. This is, and our conversation as well. There, as much anticipation as there is every year for baseball, it's so ramped up right now.
I think this is my 41st year of going to LSU baseball games.
Goodness gravy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm having a lot of trouble not getting ahead of myself, though. To me, this team, the level of expectation is such, and I mentioned this to Ben McDonald last week. When he was on, we got a little preview of the team as well before the Brown-Gunter court fiasco. It was like, do we even bother to play the season? It's so good. Do we even bother to play the season? The hype, the dream is so beautiful that the reality is going to suck no matter how they play it out. I mean, if they don't, you ever seen a college baseball team run the table?
Oregon Oregon State a couple of years back? They only lost 4 games?
Yeah.
But did not win the World Series.
Also true. So that's why they don't play the game on paper. All right, we got to talk Twitter today. A number of stories about Twitter right now. As it looked like it was kind of going away for a minute, but now Twitter's back in the news in a big way, and every day is just Elon Musk turns out to be the worst person ever. Where are we at here?
He's in the Voldemort category. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, he who must not be named. Every now and we on Tech Gumbo, we feel like we can go once a month and just kind of bundle all of the stories in one episode and move on.
All right, headline. Elon Musk fires a top Twitter engineer over his declining view count. Within the story, it says, on Tuesday, Musk gathered a group of engineers and advisors into a room at Twitter's headquarters looking for answers. Why are his engagement numbers tanking? This is ridiculous, he said, according to multiple sources with direct knowledge of the meeting. I have more than 100 million followers, and I'm only getting tens of thousands of impressions. So the story goes on to say he fired an engineer over that interaction. First of all, isn't that a good question to ask? If you've got 100 million followers and you're getting 10,000 impressions?
It's a good question to ask if you're okay with the answer. Mm-hmm. But if you are given the answer that's hey, people just aren't that interested in you, and you lose your mind and fire somebody who gives you that answer. I mean, if this was a scene that was in a Mel Brooks movie, mm-hmm. I'd be okay with it. I'd be laughing, thinking it was hysterical. Yeah. But this is the real world. This guy loses his job because he points out, here's the numbers that the metrics that we're showing. People just aren't that interested in all of the stupid things you're saying and doing.
Okay, let me re-ask the question, because a lot of times when we see people get soured in the media, that everything about them appears crazy and mad, like not mad like angry, but like mania. Why didn't this happen at SpaceX? Why didn't this happen at Tesla? But now all of a sudden that Elon Musk is bad guy number one, he is bat bleep crazy and doing these things.
We asked that question. When you build Tesla, when you build SpaceX, and those companies they're using engineering and physics, mm-hmm. not emotion. Mm-hmm. Twitter is a company built on emotion. And so when your company, everything happens because of emotion at Twitter. The whole idea is that tweet needs to spark somebody's emotion so they'll click into it or read it or stop on it or whatever. You're not getting emotional about a SpaceX rocket. You're not going to get emotional about a Tesla car the way you will of somebody putting out some inflammatory tweet somewhere. And so you're a guy who has been building these other companies based upon engineering and physics, and then you jump into the world of emotion, and maybe you're not a person who really deals with emotion very well, then you're probably, you've put yourself into a position you're not going to succeed.
Okay, I can follow that take for sure. But you see where I'm at, though.
Oh, I do.
This happens across the board. Donald Trump used to be beloved when he was on with Oprah, and then he decides he's a Republican and he's vilified. He can make the same gesture one day, and the next day that same gesture is considered derogatory. Another great example would be Kanye West. Like, all of a sudden he's crazy, like genius, crazy. And we're seeing a similar pattern with Elon Musk, where genius, crazy.
But when he goes back across the street to the Tesla, or goes back across the street to SpaceX, he's not crazy anymore.
Right.
It's just when he's inside the Twitter building.
That's my point. You can't just turn it on and off like a switch. It's not the Lakers of the 80s.
But when the decisions that you're making when you're at Twitter, like, okay, we're going to charge $8. We're going to charge $20 for the blue check. Oh, we're not going to charge anything.
We're going to talk blue check in a minute.
You know, but when you're going up and down with all, and you're making, oh, well, the fiction writer, the horror, Stephen King, when Stephen King says, oh, you should, instead of $20, it should be $8. Oh, okay, let's charge $8 because Stephen King said so, for the blue Twitter mark. And that's how you're running your company that you just dropped $44 billion on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see, oh, well, Stephen King said we should only charge $25 for a Tesla.
I don't know how much of that I buy into, simply because there's what we're fed as the public.
He tweeted it.
Well, if it was tweeted, it must be real.
No,
if it was on Twitter, it must be real.
Elon Musk tweets
Elon Musk has all the research and numbers and decides to make a business change and can run with us a little bit, kind of jab us along for the ride, what numbers went behind that? Or what research went behind that? We have no idea. We only know what we're fed.
We don't know, because he fired the analytics department.
That's what he did. I'm always very cautious to buy into, especially when there is a mob looking to take someone down.
And I get that take, and it's a legitimate take. But when you fire whole departments because they're not giving you the answers you want.
He fired those departments before he could get answers, though. I mean, to be fair, like he could have fired everybody on day one just to clean house.
True. But you're an international company, and the first day you fire half of your workforce.
Hey. Sometimes we'll pick up there. I don't want to leave the last word hanging. We'll break. Come back after Your Money Now in traffic at 6:46. Yeah,
I need more information about the guy, like the engineer.
Yeah,
and like what he was in charge of. Like what his job description was. I need all the details.
But like Google, Facebook, half of the tech world fired more people than Elon Musk. So clearly the whole world was bloated.
Oh, absolutely. But those companies are laying off 5% of their workforce, not 50% of their workforce.
No. By scale, you're absolutely right.
And so if you're trying to right size and you get rid of 10% of your workforce, okay, I get it. Maybe you think the company was it so bloated by 50% at Twitter? I mean, that
maybe he wanted to clean house.
And look, I'm not in the boardroom. I'm not the
That's my point. None of us are.
No, you're right. We are not. But when you're reading the articles in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and the Washington Post, this isn't what's in the National Enquirer. And I mean, that's where I read the articles in the big newspapers, because that's where you're getting the trusted answers from. You're supposed to be anyway. In my opinion, those are the most credible sources. They're not just going to throw crap around out there because they can. And so when you see these things popping up over and over and over, it's a pattern.
A pattern. What? Okay.
But they popped over and over and over again with a lot of different people like Trump, like Kanye.
Kanye's and I hate to put any eggs in a Kanye basket, but he was so beloved when he said George Bush does not care about black people. And then he sits down with Trump, and he's, obviously stupid and crazy.
Tucker.
Do what?
And Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
And I get the Trump thing where in New York City everyone loved him because he built the ice skating rink and all the other stuff and put his name on buildings. And then all of a sudden he changes the letter to the R behind his name instead of a Democrat, and everyone hates him because he's a Republican in New York City. Mm-hmm. I get that. And, he may or may have
lived as a slumlord, hated as a Republican. Trump.
And, he may or may not have said and done a few things along the way to fan the flames.
To be fair, it was more his dad was a slumlord, and he was a lot more high-end.
Oh, yeah, he was into the big, nice, shiny buildings that he could put gold lettering on.
Yeah, but that started with some not-so-shiny buildings.
Yeah. Kevin O'Neill, my name is not Hayag. And no, I don't have TikTok on my phone, and I don't have an Android.
TikTok.
No, Galen, I don't want to be Twitter CEO. I have no desire to be involved in a social media platform.
I was looking in the wrong story, and it wasn't a quote, it was a lack of a quote. At 2:36 on Monday morning, James Musk sent an urgent message to Twitter engineers. Quote, "We are debugging an issue with engagement across the platform," wrote Musk, a cousin to the Twitter CEO, tagging @here in Slack to ensure that anyone online would see it. "Any people who can make dashboards and write software, please can you help solve this problem? This is high urgency. If you're willing to help out, please thumbs up this post." When bleary-eyed engineers began to log onto their laptops, the nature of the emergency became clear. Elon Musk's tweet about the Super Bowl got less engagement than President Biden's. The story goes on, and I may have missed it, but the story goes on to not explain how they got to that conclusion.
Because it's the number of impressions that
those two things both exist in reality, but is this correlation without causation?
I don't know. I mean, without seeing the analytics,
the story draws the conclusion that this is why, but the rest of the story, and again, I was super tired when I read this last night, so I may have, but within a day, consequences of that meeting would reverberate through Twitter. Twitter users opened the app to find that Musk's post overwhelmed their ranked timeline. This was no accident. Platformer can confirm. After Musk threatened to fire his remaining engineers, they built a system to ensure that Musk and Musk alone benefits from previously unheard of promotion of his tweet. So that
his
promotion of his tweet.
His tweets went up by a factor of 1,000.
Right.
Overnight. So that if you woke up Tuesday morning on Twitter, the only thing you were going to see on your Twitter feed was Elon Musk. You couldn't find anybody else in your Twitter feed.
Okay, so the quote that I'm looking for is, "Musk told us move my tweet first." That's the quote that I'm looking for. We got to cover other things.
Yeah.
Right.
We do want to talk about the Apple update.
Oh, yeah. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. As much as I would like to continue the conversation about Elon Musk as our Cup of Tech Gumbo continues, there's a lot more ground to cover in the tech world. But like Haggai said to begin, it's you lump all of them in for 1 month, and then you just have a good go at it. And then, we'll reconvene in another month. October 27th of 2022 was when the official takeover of Twitter by Musk. And every day since then has been the worst day ever. I don't know how you... Stop, Brian. Stop. Regroup. Let's get into some other things. We'll get back around to Twitter and the blue check mark if we can before we're all done. Apple has issued an Apple issues emergency security updates for all of their platforms. Tell me about this.
There's a real big 0-day security flaw in the iOS 16.3. So now 16.3.1 is this security update. If you have a Mac OS 13, go out and get the update. This is a serious update. Please do run. If you have an iPhone, if you have a Mac, an iPad, run the update today. When Apple says this is an emergency security update, believe them, because this security issue is real. And if you do banking, if you check your credit card, if you do anything on your phone, you're exposed. So run the updates. This is not one to sit around and wait till everybody else runs the update and see if it does any harm. No, this is an emergency update from Apple. When they put out the word emergency update, believe them.
Okay, fair enough. Apple hasn't asked me to update in a little while. I wonder where that's at.
Just go to settings, go to general, go to software update, and if you see your phone is at 16.3.1, it means it's already run the update.
Okay.
If your phone is set to automatically run the updates, it may have already done it for you.
That's on purpose. It's not. So because I use my phone as my alarm clock as well, and I don't ever want to be in a position where it's running update overnight or whatever. Yeah, 16.3.1. Good. I'm already there. All right. Meanwhile, the U.S. is escalating their Apple probe, looking to bring in an antitrust chief.
Yes. So this is all about the what you can do in the iTunes, the App Store, and how Apple is really stifling competition, so that one of the examples in the articles that we found, we were talking about the Tiles versus the AirPods. The Tile app, the little device that's, the Apple AirPod, where you track things. Tile has the same kind of thing, but it's a third-party.
AirTags.
AirTags.
Yeah, I was thinking of the headphones.
I'm sorry,
the earbuds.
Excuse me, you're right. AirTag, not AirPod. AirTag versus Tile. Every time if you have the Tile, Apple forces you to, hey, do you still want to use this? Do you still want to use this? Is it okay to track? They never ask that about their own stuff. The AirTags, you never get asked, is it okay to track? And Apple is doing things, and that's just one example. The fact that the whole Fortnite, where they got an Epic Games sued Apple because Apple was taking 30% off the top of the in-game purchases.
Yeah.
And
one day someone's going to have to explain Fortnite to me, like on a very real level. Nothing has made me feel older in life, aside from pulling my back sitting in that chair. Nothing has made me feel older in life than Fortnite.
Never played it.
Fortnite is my flashing microwave clock, or flashing VCR clock of the 80s. And that is where I'm at. It's like this whole other world. You've got worlds within the world. None of it's real, but all of it's real. But like, I want to sit back and watch Matlock. And tell stories about the weather.
You hadn't even gotten to the Harry Potter Legacy game that's out that everyone in the world except me is playing.
I'm just like, I instantly become Grandpa Simpson. I don't know why. So we got two more to cover before we get out. Yep. And one of those is Netflix. This time they promise they're cracking down. The password sharing crackdown has come.
It started, and they've now gone to Canada, to Spain, to Puerto Rico, and Portugal.
What are they, a David Hasselhoff album?
I guess they are. Well, they're trying. They're just going up in size. They're testing larger markets because they started off with 5 third world countries.
I love a world where Portugal's a larger market.
Well, compared to Argentina, it is.
No, I mean, you got
Dominican Republic and Portugal. I mean, it's where it is. And they're still saying by the end of the year they're going to do the password crackdown. And in Canada, if your kid goes off to college and you're sharing your password with your kid, now in Canada it's an extra $7.50 a month on top of the already almost $20 a month.
Yeah. So. there's so many problems with this. The first of which is if you want the damn policy, implement the policy. Don't give me the test run garbage.
And then here's the next thing. If you, let's say you have your own laptop or your iPad or something, if you all of a sudden hop on a plane and are going to go on vacation, if you've not logged into Netflix on your iPad or your laptop within 30 days,
right,
you're not going to be able to watch Netflix because it needs to see that you've checked in from your home IP address.
So every new device, Netflix is going to make itself, it no longer is going to have mobility. It's going to be your den, the TV in your den.
It's going to push people to HBO Max and Disney is what it's going to do.
Yeah, it is. They, for a business that revolutionized the industry, I mean, the people that, by and large, put Blockbuster out of business. No, Blockbuster put Blockbuster out of business, and never forget that. But the inability to adapt is...
And to not see that at some point you're going to price yourself out of the game.
Right.
When there's that much competition with that big of a library at some of your competition, you can't just keep jacking people up because at some point they're going to say, I don't need you anymore.
Right.
Apple TV hey, they got some good stuff over there.
Amazingly enough, that's the exact same thing that happened to Blockbuster. I don't care how far down the technology world we go. Hubris is hubris has always been the enemy since Greek tragedies. He's Haggai Davis, full serving gumbo coming your way 4:00 tomorrow.
Nope. Basketball tomorrow. Or softball tomorrow.
Softball, no.
Saturday is softball.
Yeah, that's
4
right.
o'clock.
We are finally underway.
Yep. We'll be on Sunday at 4.
All right, there it is. I appreciate you, brother.
You bet.
We're coming up on the top of the hour. Time to get squared away with ABC News. After ABC News, Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way next on Talk 107.3. We're not carrying the softball game yet. Huh? We don't have it on yet. You'll be on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's too much conflict with baseball, with women's basketball.
Oh, okay.
So I don't believe we're. Yeah.
So you're not broadcasting the softball games are broadcast?
I was so confused
Not yet.
when he said that.
Yeah, I want to say March 12th will be our first softball game. Oh. Yeah. There's just so many moving parts right now. You got 3 other sports that take priority over softball. You'll have men's basketball, men's and baseball, and then women's basketball as well. So if Chris Blair is calling the men's basketball game and Buzzy and Doug are calling the baseball game and Patrick is out of town calling the basketball game, number one, you don't have that many outlets in the studio at LSU to broadcast all those things, which usually leaves softball with a direct to Talk 107.3 broadcast. But on top of that, it's just the teams aren't built to have that much manpower.
Byron, why are you struggling with the Hulu Plus platform? Did I get the answers for the last one? What did I even ask? Oh, the pet sitting one. Number one answer, pet dies.
Oh, yeah. If your pet's sitting, what do you not want to happen? You don't want the pet to die.
Yeah.
You don't want to die.
I don't want to die.
Pet to run away.
That's the number 2 answer.
Yeah, and number 3, craps on the floor.
Get sick, yeah. Or he bites you, or pees on the floor, or it chews things. What monster scares you the most?
Things is not something I would be on, but it was your damn dog. Don't get mad at me that your dog chewed up your sofa.
Yeah, what the hell?
Don't at me with this. Don't bother asking me for any more favors if you could get mad at me over something that your stupid dog did.
Yeah.
I'm just here to keep the damn thing alive and fed.
Yeah.
Why am I mad about this?
Very mad. It's a Family Feud question.
Can you imagine how those Apple stories would sound if Elon Musk ran Apple?
Oh, about the
Think about how the tenor of the reporting on that would be different.
About the emergency update?
No, about the Tiles versus AirTags thing. That
I heard that antitrust thing on Ken Coleman was talking about it.
Coleman.
They, as much as the political left loves their Macs,
right?
If you brought in somebody conservative,
we put pet sitting on your trigger list. It's number 53 on the list.
Bring in a staunch conservative who's going to change the way Mac does things.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make Mac more like Windows.
Ruin it is another way to put that. There needs to be
What
more than
monster
one
scares you
way
the
of doing
most?
things out there, and that's why I like a lot of the things on the MacBook. I like a lot of the things on my Dell here as well.
I've never used a Mac, but
I used the DJ.
Go DJ.
Christy swears by it.
What, the Mac?
Yeah, it's like once you're doing it,
Once you
That
go
much-
Mac, you never go back.
it's that much that much more user friendly. But like everything, you got to learn it first. What, are they making fun of me?
no.
They just said pet sitting is number 53 on your
thinks
list.
he's old.
Well, but
Because
I'm-
the Dead Sea was only sick when I was a kid. That's a good line, Byron.
We're starting off a little bit, lot of bit.
Wait. No.
We're starting off a little bit, a lot of bit cooler this morning. Way cooler this morning. Here's your full forecast with WBRZ meteorologist Jason Wheat.
So, guys, here's the other question. I asked it like twice already and nobody answered. What monster scares you the most? Elon Musk.
Right now.
That's
Last week it was Kanye.
that's Voldemort.
That's yeah. I like how he went from Tony Stark to Voldemort, though.
And we
But-
said that on the show. We talked about how this guy was Tony Stark when he was building SpaceX. But he got involved in an emotional game.
Cool. That's what made him Voldemort. It's a political game.
Emotional.
We're-
Twitter is all emotion.
We didn't get to the 4,000 character BS. That's
Oh God, I hate that idea.
7:05 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Thanks again to Haggai Davis for a cup of tech gumbo. We never got into the 4,000 characters for blue check Twitter members. It just, like, if there's anything in actuality that would ruin Twitter, forget about all the Elon Musk controversy and how one day he's a genius and the next day he's a madman. But you want to make Twitter something that it's not? You want to ruin Twitter users? It was bad enough when they doubled the number of characters. 4,000? Come on. I'm here for headlines, not a copy of Mice and Men. But if we're talking about Of Mice and Men, that would mean Fortnite makes me Lenny. Busy hour coming your way this hour. Metro Councilwoman Jen Rocca in our next segment. And Christian Stout talking about AI to make art. What are the concerns here? We'll dive in later on this hour. Right now, it's time for Top Stories and Trending. Let's get it. The bar where 19-year-old LSU student Madison Brooks was reportedly drinking before she was fatally struck by a car is now expected to stay closed for months after a hearing over the bar's suspended liquor license was delayed. According to the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control, the hearing is now scheduled for April 27th. The bar's representatives were scheduled to appear for the hearing Thursday, but reportedly requested a new date. The delay means Reggie's will not be able to serve alcohol until at least that date, when the bar is slated to plead its case with regulators. Anybody make it out to the Zachary versus Liberty basketball game Wednesday night? I would love to hear a first-person account of this one. A bench-clearing fight that broke out during a basketball game between Zachary High and Liberty High is under investigation by the LHSAA. LHSAA said Thursday that the brawl, which halted the game with just minutes left in the final quarter, is the focus of an ongoing investigation. The fight, by the way, was caught on video. WBRZ's got that video if you wanted to check it out. The fight started after two players from the opposing teams began throwing punches. The scuffle quickly escalated when referees, coaches, and bystanders rushed in to break up the pair. Game was suspended with 3 minutes, 19 seconds left. Our news partners at WBRZ reached out to East Baton Rouge and Zachary School Systems for more information on possible discipline for those involved. EBR said no one was hurt, no arrests were made, but like we said, the investigation is ongoing. Oh, a bus driver accused of smoking that weed while picking up kids is no longer employed by the East Baton Rouge Parish School System. School system started investigating social media posts earlier this month alleging that the employee was driving erratically and using drugs while picking up elementary students. A notice sent out to parents at the time said the school system was investigating the, quote, alleged incident of marijuana use during a bus route. School system confirmed Thursday the driver is no longer employed there, but refused to provide further information. As of yesterday, it is unclear, according to our news partners at WBRZ, it is unclear whether school officials were able to substantiate the claims of drug use on the bus. Led the show off with this morning. Jeff Landry's got a lot of money in the bank. Hang on. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry has opened up a sizable lead in at least one aspect of the 2023 race for governor. That would be cash on hand. Campaign finance reports filed Wednesday showed Landry, who has the backing of the state party, has $5.01 million in available funds. That includes more than $3 million that the campaign had on hand from a prior reporting cycle, along with newly added funds. Landry's closest rival in spendable cash is Treasurer John Schroeder with about $2.4 million. Of that amount, $2 million carried over from the previous cycle. State Senator Sharon Hewitt's got $617,875 in her account. State Representative Richard Nelson showing a balance of $197,347. Lake Charles attorney Hunter Lundy is he's an independent in the race. His filing reported $1.6 million in funds on hand. Officials responded to a reported shooting at Shenadia Drive near Starling Lane. That can't be right. Hang on. A shooting near Starling Lane early this morning that left 2 people injured. The shooting was reported shortly before 6 a.m. Friday morning on Shenadia Drive, Chanadia, a residential area between Bluebonnet and Starling. Sources say 2 people were shot. They were brought to a local hospital in stable condition. Those are all the details we have about that story as it happened a little over an hour ago. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. More Mardi Gras parades in Baton Rouge this weekend. We got tonight in South Downs, Crew of South Downs. We've got tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Baton Rouge Mardi Gras Festival at the North Boulevard Town Square. Tomorrow at noon, Spanish Town rolls in downtown Baton Rouge. Coma goes this weekend as well on the other side of the river. Those are your top stories and a look at what's trending. We're going to be due up for a break here in just a quick second. After that break, I want to talk about the settlement being offered to the protesters from Alton Sterling's death and a couple of other items of the Metro Council. Metro Councilman Jen Rocca slated to join us next, right after this break on Talk 107.3 FM. It is 12 minutes after 7 o'clock. Do I not have her here? How long do I have here? Okay. of the fight. Awesome. Hey, take this phone number down, please.
Guys, y'all can be honest with me. Who do you like more, me or Taylor?
Okay. Well, like, y'all, I got to figure out a better way to ask it. Upstairs.
Oh, sorry about that. Because I just went upstairs and I'm dying.
All good. 7:15, Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to welcome back to the studio, Metro Councilwoman Jen Rocca. How are you this morning?
I'm great. It's Friday. It's Mardi Gras.
It is.
Good times.
Okay. Are you a Spanish Town goer?
So I am a Spanish Town rider.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And Southdowns. Don't forget Southdowns.
So I'm a Mardi Gras snob.
Are you?
I like the big parades. I like the big crew. I like Endymion. Bacchus, my favorite is Toth. But being a Mardi Gras snob, I adore the Southtowns parade.
Yeah.
It is exactly what a neighborhood parade is supposed to be. And they make the absolute most of a neighborhood parade. They're fantastic. I love
They
Southdowns.
are amazing.
Yeah.
And we have a council float with some of my fellow council members, not all of them, but a couple participated and are coming out to 12 tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Super excited.
All right. Now we get with it. Now y'all are like under the microscope of, are they throwing good? What are they throwing?
Oh yeah, all kinds of things.
That's-
What are we throwing?
What are you throwing?
Who are we throwing to?
I mean,
everybody. The answer is everybody.
There's and no better way to lose votes, right?
Right. I mean,
I didn't catch anything from Jen Rock. I'm not voting for her again.
I'm gonna be in disguise.
That's why masking is so important. In
It
Mardi Gras.
is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
All right. Metro Council approves $1 million settlement in lawsuit over arrests stemming from 2016 protests. $1.17 million to settle the lawsuit, and it looks like it took, right? The follow-up headline says protesters arrested after the death of Alton Sterling, finally moving on after the settlement. So all parties are good here.
No.
Oh,
No, not all parties.
okay. Walk me through
we
it.
have another.
Really?
Yep. Another one locked and loaded.
Okay. Then I guess my first question is, why would 14 be in one group and 10 in another? Why wouldn't this be handling all of it at the same time?
I can't speak to that exactly because I'm not 100% sure because we've been left out of the loop on a lot of this as council members, which I understand to some extent, but I think it's because some were on government and some were on airline. But I am just
Okay, so different, potentially different
Yeah.
protests, which makes sense though, because the arrests that were made right outside this building, that was a different. I don't want to say a different environment, but like there was a different vibe to it. They had a purpose. They were going to go block the interstate.
right.
The airline at Goodwood, where police headquarters is at, I mean, there were, objects thrown. There were,
Bricks, frozen water bottles.
yeah, a whole lot of it. And just generally just blocking the road there was no cakewalk as well. We drive through there every day.
Right.
Literally every day we're going through that intersection and having the crowds just form around. How did we get to $1.17 million?
So that came from the parish attorney's office.
Okay.
And I can only speak to what I know and not what was discussed in executive session. So what I know is that number was much lower, much higher, based upon conversations that I've had with other counsel as in attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that number has fluctuated over the course of the past 2 years.
Because 1.17 million for 14 protesters.
I think it roughly comes out to 55,000 a protester, somewhere around that amount, and then there's a large amount of attorney's fees.
A large amount of attorneys.
That was negotiated down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 more protesters coming out. Are we going to see? Well, you can't obviously predict the future, but is this going to be roughly the same process?
So I don't know.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I don't know. So this matter, and I've said multiple times in the media, we weren't made aware. I think anything this large, our parish attorney's office should say, hey, we're going into trial.
Mm-hmm.
We have this potential exposure. It's in excess of this amount. Mm-hmm. It could be zero. It could be this amount. Our settlement amount is XYZ. It varies. This is what we're doing. I'm just letting all of you know it's coming to you because you're voting on it.
Right.
Regardless of anything that happens, you are voting on it. Those conversations were never had. This is a high-profile trial. Could have ended up in the national news media. No one, not a single person from the parish attorney's office reached out and let us know it was coming. Not
Interesting.
a single one. Right.
So how much FaceTime did you have with this issue? Like how much?
Hardly any whatsoever. I was brought in late last week whenever the trial wasn't going as expected. And I was told, hey, we think we need to settle, and this is the amount, this is the number. And then we had executive session where it was discussed. Now, I was told that the parish attorney's office reached out to multiple council members, but aside from him and some of his staff speaking to me candidly at a back-to-back meeting for another issue, that telephone call was never made to me. However, I think I need to get this elephant out of the room because it is circulating. Some of my fellow council members, whenever I bring up things such as this, like with Stormwater Gate and some of the issues that I discovered, what has circulated and began at the parish attorney's office is Jen Rock is just mad at the parish attorney. She's just trying to fire the parish attorney, which is wonderful because it has made my points invalid. It has made me the angry woman. And let me tell you here today in front of everybody turn up your radios. I am not trying to fire the parish attorney. I do not know a single attorney in this town that would take this job for $130,000. I do not know that. Does that mean that I think what is being done is effective? Absolutely not. But I am not trying to replace the parish attorney with any of my friends, anyone in his office, anybody outside of his office. This is not politically motivated in any way. What I am doing is using my mind to say, hey, we don't have transparent conversations. Mm-hmm. We're not even given all of the facts. And I believe we continue to be manipulated. I truly believe that. We have an attorney that went to try this case, and I respect this attorney. But not every attorney is a trial attorney. Not everyone. We go to different universities. We get taught differently. We have different skills. The attorney, and this comes from outside sources. I have friends that work in the federal courthouse. My husband works in the federal courthouse. They watch these trials. The attorney was late on the first day of trial. He was unprepared. Okay?
Okay.
He was admonished by the judge over and over again. This attorney had never had a civil jury trial before. Never. Why are we sending someone like that to try a case where we potentially have millions of dollars of exposure. We have really good attorneys in Paris. Who made that decision? Who made it?
Okay, let me pick up the questions.
Sorry.
Let me take the role of defending the parish attorney, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alton Sterling killed in 2016. I don't know that we have a whole lot of examples of where they would get like game day practice for this sort of thing. So, and showing up late, not being prepared, obviously that's bad. But what level of preparation can there be? How much can you know going in?
This is from 2016. He had how many years to prepare? And so someone mentioned that he was only on this case for 2 years. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Seriously? And you know what? No, they don't have game day practice for all of these types of cases. But there are attorneys in that office that are in federal court regularly. In fact, we were told that they have several civil cases that they usually handle in federal court, that they have 1983 cases. They have police officers rear-ending, EMS trucks rear-ending. There are people that are prepared to have a civil trial, jury trial in federal court. There are people that can do it. And, okay, let's be the devil's advocate here.
Yes.
Okay, so we pay an outside firm hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal bills to handle inter-office issues with the police department, okay?
Okay.
They're excellent attorneys. They're great. Why wouldn't we pay those attorneys hundreds of thousands of dollars when we have a case that has millions of dollars of exposure? How does this make it make sense? Please make it make sense to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're not going to use them, why do we pay them?
If we're having attorneys these huge attorneys with great experience, super knowledgeable, wonderful attorneys, sort of cheeky but great attorneys, and they're handling these cases for us, doing an excellent job for inter-office issues, and they're doing a great job, or they're doing a job. And we can't hire them to do a case like this where the taxpayers are on the hook for millions of dollars. It doesn't make sense to me. Like we're handling it like it really doesn't. I can't make it make sense.
So 1.17 was what it was settled on. Vote 7-4. I'm just guessing which column you were in.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't take a whole lot to sift through. When the next one comes around, like you said, 10 more are on the way. Or not 10 more cases, but 10 more protesters on the way. Are we going to see something different in approach this next time around? Because you can get out in front of it this time.
Let's talk about some facts of the case.
Okay.
Because those things cannot be disputed, and that is what a jury is for, to look at the facts that are presented and weigh the credibility of the testimony that is given throughout the trial, correct? Mm-hmm. So we were not present. However, again, multiple sources have talked to us. In fact, a juror has reached out to a fellow council member. Okay, that is an interesting story. However, so one of the facts that was given to me was that there were APCs, affidavits of probable cause, that weren't properly notarized. Okay, so we were led to believe that there were 14 of them.
Who's responsible for that?
So the Baton Rouge police officers. So you have a ton of people. They have an assembly line of filling out paperwork. Doesn't make it right. So you have somebody who notarized an affidavit of probable cause unlawfully, okay?
Okay.
So where's the investigation? Hey, FBI, y'all listening? Y'all out there? Y'all usually are. Where's the investigation? If there's some malfeasance, some issue, where is that investigation? If that is such a large issue, why are we only hearing about it at this trial?
When would that have happened? I feel like that would have happened 6 years ago.
Yes. So where is it? How do we just discover this? We have attorneys working on this case for 6 years. How do we only know about it now in front of a jury? Okay. And so so we were under the impression that there were 14 wrong APCs. Mm-hmm. Another council member has come back to me and told me there was one.
I mean, even at one, I mean, does it matter the difference between 14 and 1? Obviously, it gets more egregious, but does it change the game?
Devil's advocate and criminal defense attorney here. Hey, you have a summons issued, you have a DWI issued, you don't have that notary officio line signed by a BRPD officer, you better go to city court and march in and ask for that officer to testify. You need to ask the officer to testify, why was this not notarized? Or ask for the officer to testify, were you the person that notarized this? Was this properly notarized? Because apparently it either matters or it doesn't.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, In DWI court, I have rarely seen it matter. When I've talked to the Division of Administrative Law, it has rarely mattered. Licenses weren't being reinstated. DWIs were not being dismissed because that notary line was not filled out. And now either notaries matter or they don't. And now, apparently, in front of a jury, when $1.17 million are up in the air, it either matters or it doesn't. And this is one issue. Again, there may be some fault there. However, does it negate the fault of the other acts?
Metro Councilwoman Jen Rocca is our guest. Okay, but if it does matter, is there a way to get the horse back in the barn on it through testimony?
I would assume there would be. And if I were the attorney going in talking to a jury, I would have owned it in opening statements and said, you are going to see this. Yeah. We have corrected this problem, but it does not negate the other acts.
Right.
Or it does, and they deserved way more money. But either way, a jury should have decided that.
So with that in mind, where does that go from here with the next one?
We'll see.
Do we have a timeline on it?
I think it's a year out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we going to hear about it within the year, or were you going to be back in the seat in a year saying they waited till the last minute again?
It depends on what rumor the parish attorney's office starts about me next.
Oh, goodness gracious. She is Metro Councilwoman Jen Rocca. As an aside, complete aside, for anyone out there who says we shouldn't vote lawyers into office, just rewind and listen to this segment again. I wanted to talk about more than just this. I didn't realize, like, this.
I have all day.
Well, I mean, we got to.
Except for my Mardi Gras shirt and my parade.
I mean, well, no, we're going to have to get you back on because we were supposed to talk a little bit about privatizing wastewater as well.
Okay.
But we'll have to do that at a later time.
Sure.
Right now, though, so $1.17 million, that's a done deal.
It's
over
done.
with. We
checks are being written. Checks are being cut. I'm sorry, taxpayers. I tried.
That's she is Metro Councilwoman Jen Rocca. I appreciate the time this morning. I mean, there's not enough time to open up anything else. So.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Right.
I hope y'all have a great, safe weekend.
You do the same.
Be good. Be lawful.
Have a wonderful.
Keep our things straight.
Have a wonderful Mardi Gras. She's riding in South Downs tonight, riding in Spanish Town tomorrow. Hang tight for 1 second before we get to the news.
Thank you.
Riding in South Downs tonight, riding in Spanish Town tomorrow. And yes, if she doesn't see you and throw you something, then definitely, do not hold that against her. We got to take a quick break. When we come back.